Yeah.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, the millions of fans, it's that time we're back. It's,
Back
we're back.
in pod form.
Is that trademarked? Is that trademarked?
Everything's trademarked.
Everything's trademarked. It's Tuesdays in Delaware. As
but it's
the
also
league has,
Wednesday.
But also Wednesday. We're starting off. We're already behind. With your
off to a great start.
With your illustrious
Delaware. Who cares about what day it is in Delaware? They don't have anything to worry about.
What time zone are they even in? With your wonderful hosts, Chris Tezak, Nat Levy, and it's that time of year. The leaves are turning, the rain is falling,
and a new. Speak for yourself.
In the cool parts of the country, the rain is falling. That's gross. A new fantasy season begins, our illustrious 2023-2024 fantasy season, and your season preview starts. First up, I just want to say, we're getting some new tech. We are investing. We're investing in the program.
All this cash that we've made off of this show and our wonderful, definitely non-fictional advertisers. We don't take profits. We're putting it right back in.
We are investing in growth, people. We're scaling. We got some new production value. We're gonna test out. So if you see some improvements, enjoy them. If you see some failures, blame the tools, and we'll get better.
Don't say anything.
And don't say anything. But we're here.
No.
Our draft is next week. We're gonna see if we can do a live stream of the draft. I think that will be fun. We're going to see if we can make that work. If not, we will do a breakdown or at least a call in with a couple folks, I think. Because I think you and I, at least, we can share the tumultuous turmoil of the draft for the millions of fans. That'll be a first time, I think. We haven't done a draft recording, have we?
I don't think so.
So that'd be fun.
I don't think we've ever done it on a Tuesday and just never really thought that perhaps we could record on a different day and do it then. Even though we record on different days all the time because we're too sleepy or work was too hard.
That's true. Yeah, it just happens to fall into that. So that'll be good. And then the season will start after that. Big kickoff. We'll have a good team preview. But first, I think the crux of the season preview really has to come down to Nat. Like your world has changed. Like
why? What happened?
We've had a huge eviction from the penthouse in Tank City. Like Dame is gone.
He is? No, this is a dumb bit. All right. I don't know why I did this. We didn't talk about this at all. This was just my idea in the moment. This is why you prepare for things and don't just spitball them because they're bad. Yes.
You should really keyed in the producer on that move before you did it.
I'm all about riffing and improv, you know. It's like I'm an Anchorman guy, you know. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dame is no longer a Blazer.
How do you feel about that?
I'm sad. I mean, like, dude has been here for 11 years and gave that team and that city his best years, and they never gave him a single second All-Star. The only other one he ever had was already there when he got there. And that was my first emotion. That is clearly still my emotion because it's been 3 months since he asked out. And that was my immediate thing. It was like, he tried and he tried and he tried, and they just failed to give him anything. Every time they had a big move to make, it went wrong. And every time they did that and you saw them make that move, it was like, well, that's probably going to go wrong. And then it did. And that's a very sad thing to what if out arguably your best player in franchise history. By the way, the other probable best player in franchise history, also a giant what if guy. So really it's just a whole what if team. And it's not really the place you want to be. So mostly disappointed. I think that it was the right thing to do to, actually go get something of value. When he suits up for the Milwaukee next year. They really, they did, he wanted to play for a great team. That's a great team.
Is there anybody who's rooting against the Bucks next year? Anybody?
Everyone from Miami.
That's true. That's
Everyone who likes the Heat. Jimmy Butler and his sweepy overbangs. That's who's rooting against Milwaukee.
is he contractually required to sing "Hey Ya" during the game with that haircut?
Only if it's like a Fall Out Boy or My Chemical Romance like remixed version.
Just the full emo.
Yeah, like they're all at a music festival together and they get called on stage to play together. That kind of deal.
What I like about that reality of that the only people that don't want the Bucks to win is Miami. Everybody already hates Miami fans, so like nobody cares.
Yeah, and they really earned a lot of additional hatred this summer with their just like general entitlement of like, we deserve this player because for some reason. And I love the like insistence on quote unquote Heat culture. I have many Miami takes now. And how great that their, wonderful development system is. And it is. It's really good. They've developed all kinds of undrafted players into like role players and people who got paid somewhere else and then weren't nearly as good. It's a great achievement. However, their best players over the last like 17 years, 20 years, of all of those players, only 2 of them did they draft. Bam and Wade. Shaq forced his way there, for which they gave up Lamar Odom and a bunch of other stuff. If they hadn't won a title, it would have been a colossal failure. And then Butler forced his way over there, and they got him for Josh Richardson, essentially. And
that turned out to be a very good deal.
Fun fact,
Right.
Josh Richardson just signed on to the Heat like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So he's back. They have them both. So they really won that deal even more. Bam, they drafted, which admittedly, great pick. But it's really not that hard to be a great star player or a great team when star players are kind of just lining up to go there because they just happen to like your city or what have you, or you happen to have Pat Riley and everyone wants to play for Pat Riley. I don't know why, but people just kind of...
I think Party City actually is like a legitimate like Miami draw. Like I do think that they actually have a winning reality there of like probably as a pro ball player. Like it seems like a great place to be.
It doesn't seem to come into effect in any other sport though. Like
yeah, I mean, like the other teams are like hot garbage. They have the opposite reputation. So like I think it probably doesn't make people go there by themselves, but it's probably like a deal breaker, right? Or a deal decider. Like if you're gonna pick 2 teams who can win, like you're gonna go to Party City. But like if it's between what is it? What are they now? The Marlins? Are they still the Marlins?
Yeah.
If it's between like the Marlins and I don't know any other team, like
and the Marlins are notoriously cheap. That's their problem.
Exactly right. Like you got. They're not even trying to get people to win. They're just like it's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, happy for Miami getting their just desserts.
My favorite part is this as a neutral. Like you're obviously like vested in
oh yeah, I can't be neutral at all here. I'm completely compromised.
What I don't understand as a neutral is why they thought that, like the Miami options never made sense from the start, and like to me it was just like this is silly, and this is obviously never gonna happen, and so it's funny to hear like the fan take from like seeing the fans that were like obviously thought that like it blows my mind because it was so obviously terrible.
I mean, is it the same entitlement thing like from the organization that the fans also share? Like it's the top down thing. Like the organization feels entitled, so the fans feels entitled. Like they felt. I mean, like reportedly they never even made their best offer. Like reportedly the best offer they ever made was Hero and 2 picks.
Yeah, and I think there's got to be some point where like if a big player like says I'm gonna go there, you get excited, right? Like if I don't know, if Giannis tomorrow is like I'm opting out to go with the Bulls, like I'd be like ooh, like
well, I mean Anthony Davis, like Anthony Davis said, trade me to the Lakers. I am going to the Lakers now. Boston, do not trade for me.
Yeah.
He had 1 year left on his contract, not 4. And they got Lonzo and Ingram and Josh Hart and every draft pick ever and all kinds of stuff. Obviously, Anthony Davis at that age was a much more valuable asset than Lillard at this age. But like, there's no precedent for a star player demanding out at like that and completely obliterating his value. Because even like Harden and all his trade demands, every time he got traded, he got moved for stuff. Like,
I think though he's complaining again. I don't think it happens this time. Like I think the Harden train has stopped. Like I think
I'm very curious where that ends.
I think like we're gonna start seeing the pushback because like whether it's the Lillard deal, the trades were actually pretty reasonable. Like we haven't talked about all the details, but like all the trades were actually pretty reasonable. Nobody like sold the farm, and clearly nobody's interested in Harden's like nonsense, and like they're not going to get crap.
Well, he only wants to go to one team, just like Dame.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
And there's no way that's happening.
And there's not that, and he's not. I don't know how much of a positive asset he is at this point in his career. Like,
yeah, if you're like the Clippers GM,
why?
Yeah, like
why give up anything of value? Like, I appreciate Portland as like the troll now who's ruining everyone, because they like ruined Miami by giving Dame to Milwaukee. They also effectively took Giannis off the board. So they like trolled them a second way, obviously because Hero and 2 picks was good enough for Giannis in his prime. Clearly. They also then fucked Boston, and so went and held Lillard over Boston's head and said, hey, come get our shiny new Lillard foil and pay us for that. And then they went and got Brogdon, and now they're going to say to the Clippers, hey, come get Brogdon. He's a much better fit for you than Harden ever was. And they're going to be like, yeah, let's do it. And he's cheaper. We'll take him for 2 seconds or whatever, you know, like, and so they get to screw Philly out of something they wanted to. It's very entertaining. Like, if they're going to be bad, let them just be like spitefully bad and trolling everyone in the league and secretly pulling all the strings on all the deals. Like, if they go ahead and they're like, let's see. Oh no, Jokic got hurt. Denver, how much are you going to give us for Time Lord? You know, like something like that.
It's totally true. And like, it's like actually like a great example of like, they are the market maker now. Like they are the only movable like commodity market in the NBA right now, it seems like, and they're taking advantage of it, which is great. Like sometimes you just have value for having playable chips, right? Like sometimes if you can't, you can't bet, you can't win when you can't bet, and like they can actually bet stuff right now, and like that's a hugely positive position.
They're in a very interesting place where they're basically the only team in the league that's not trying to be good but still has stuff. Like, San Antonio's not really trying to be good, but they like their stuff. They're not trying to move around their stuff. Washington has nothing. And so there's no stuff to move. And like, who else is trying to be bad beyond, like, Washington and Portland are probably the only teams who are like really actively in a full rebuild right now. Like Houston just loaded up, and they owe a very lightly protected pick to OKC this year, so they have to be good. Toronto, also bad, didn't do anything, but also owes a very lightly protected pick this year. Like, there are very few teams out there that are trying to be bad, and of the teams that are trying to be bad, very few of them have movable pieces. Yeah, and so like we're in a place definitely where we can be like, oh, you want some Jeremy Grant? Yeah, sure.
I think
Anthony Simons, you need a bench like monster scorer? Sure. Like, that'll be 8 first-round picks, please.
Your trade deadline, the Blazers at the trade deadline are gonna just be getting all the calls. Like,
they are. I don't know if they'll take any of them because they really like all of those guys. I think they could trade a lot more, but I don't think they will. I think they'll trade Brogdon at the deadline, probably to the Clippers. But I think that will probably be the end of it. I think they'll keep Simons and Grant. I think they like them both. And for all of this craziness of trading Dame and doing this and, you know, being 2 years into their maybe 4-year lease at Tank City. They still have not sold their condo in Mediocrityville. They're still holding on to it. They have this thought in the back of their mind, like, we're still really kind of straddling the 2 timeline thing. We have a 19-year-old stud and a 20-year-old possible stud, but we also have a 25-year-old center entering his prime and a 27 or 29-year-old power forward at the end of his prime. And we just traded for 2 guys in their mid-20s as our key assets out of our Dame trade. So there's still it still confuses me.
Like, I think there's still just moves to be made. Like, this doesn't seem to be like the end state.
They still have not really bottomed out, and I don't know if they're going to. Like, this team is not going to be good, but if Scoot is what people think he is, and we can talk about this throughout the season, there's basically no history of 19-year-old point guards ever being good right away.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is, and like, then that team's probably like a mid-30 win team, something like that. And that's not I mean, maybe that will be enough to be in the bottom 4 because everyone's trying to win. But
yeah, like everybody from last year, right? Like, OKC is going to be trying, Orlando's going to be trying. Like, Utah kind of has to try because they're too good to not try.
They also they're going to tank a little bit because they owe a top 10 protected pick to OKC this year.
Oh,
so they got 1 more year on there. So I think they'll do.
Dallas has to try, even though they're going to be bad. Like,
they're Luka. I mean, Miami fans holding on to Luka dreams now. That's the new one. That's the shiny new toy because that man is probably getting tired of his situation.
When's he a free agent?
He just signed a new deal, but that doesn't matter anymore. No one cares about that.
True. You are allowed 2 more takes about the trade.
2 more takes,
and then we'll actually break down some fantasy impact of these trades and some other moves from the offseason.
This is less about the trade itself, but man, my body is ready for a Boston-Milwaukee series. I want to watch the hell out of that. Like, I am I'm looking forward to those regular season games. I'm looking forward to those playoff games. I hope nobody rests in any of those regular season games.
They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to.
Whatever. What are they going to do about it? We'll see. I don't buy it for half a second.
I also don't buy it.
They don't care about that. Like, find me all you want. We have lots and lots of money.
Are the Bucks touchable if healthy?
Yes.
Oh,
Boston can touch them.
Oh, okay. I like that.
I'll say this with a caveat. How good of coach is Adrian Griffin gonna be?
That is new coach. I forgot what new coach.
That's the key. If they're well coached, no. Untouchable.
Yeah, it is. We have never seen that team with a real coach. I'm very excited for the not Bud era. Like as an espoused hater of Bud.
Bud free.
I'm happy to be
Bud free.
Budless. I'm happy to be Budless. No, Budless in Boston. Budless in Milwaukee.
Yep. Budless in Brewtown. I don't know. Something like
Budless
that.
in Brewtown.
Yeah, that will be a big deal. You know, will they act? Because, like, would this guy actually ever put Giannis on Tatum or Butler? They never did that, ever. Not in a million years.
Which made no sense.
And maybe that's because he wasn't able to do it, or maybe they just didn't want to, or whatever, but they never really did that. That was like a bullet in their chamber that they never used. You know, that pick and roll is gonna, I don't even know.
Unstoppable.
What do you even do? Like, like, in theory, there are ideas. Like, even like the Jokic Murray pick and roll is like, you can still kind of squint and see a few things you can try. But like, what are you supposed to do when it's like, and here's Brook Lopez over here, and here's
Chris
Middleton over here, and like whoever the hell else is starting at the 2, maybe Connaughton just chucking threes all day long,
yeah, I mean, you often want to double both of those players if they were playing separately on teams, right? At any given moment on the court, and you can't even fathom doing that, let alone like. There's
the playbook for Dame is he has trouble with traps. Well, how much trouble are you gonna have with traps when Giannis is your screener standing 2 feet away doing a 4-on-3? Like,
Yeah.
good night. See you later.
Or like trap at midcourt, and then like Giannis is like just at the dash, and then like romps through the paint because
Right.
nobody's there. Like
Because
that's not.
nobody wants to help because you got 50% 3-point shooting Brook Lopez in one corner and other good 3-point shooting percentage Middleton in the other, and it's like, well, I'm just gonna walk away. And,
Yeah,
like,
like
I'll just start walking to the other end of the court, and maybe they can throw it in to me to score an easy basket before they start paying attention.
yeah, mild offense to like the general Portland rosters of the last 5 years.
They bad.
You could trap Dame when Dame had no other options, and everybody knew Dame was the only person taking that shot for the next 5 minutes. Like, oh yeah, you can trap Dame. That ain't gonna work anymore.
No, and Nurk was okay. He was never very good in the 4-on-3. Like, that's a different kind of passing than like
Right.
passing out of the post or just standing there at the elbow and doing stuff. Like, there are very few people who are good at the 4-on-3. And when everyone always says like, this guy's gonna be the next Draymond, it's like, oh no, he's not. Because nobody in the world is better at the 4-on-3 than him, and no one ever like really realizes that that's why he exists, is because no one does that read better than him in the entire league. And Giannis is very good at it too, but he never gets a chance because there's no ball handler that's ever been doubled that he sets a screen for.
Mm-hmm.
No one doubles Drew. Like, Drew's great, but like, he's a single cover guy.
Yeah.
You live with him taking off the dribble threes if you go under the pick or if you go around the pick.
Yeah, he was like your least bad option. So like,
yeah, and he's a very good shooter too. But he was like a really good catch and shoot. He wasn't an off the dribble pull up shooter.
All right.
Yeah, so that's my one take, and then let's see, what else did I have? The guy that I'm just going to plant this now, and then I can pat myself on the back later if it proves to be true.
I'm going to have to snip this out. All right, 22-30, go.
Kamara, the random second round throw-in the Nurkic trade, looks interesting. He looks frisky. Like, he's big. He's 6'8", which I didn't know Portland was allowed to have 6'8" players, so I'm glad that they changed that rule. He can shoot it. He's like a 40% 3-point shooter. And he can move. Like, big shooter who can move. Like, that's not a thing that has been on this roster in Lord knows how long. I mean, Grant was probably the first one since... I mean, like, Rocco is not a movement shooter at all.
Rocco. I like Rocco.
Aminu was not any shooter of any sort. So... He's a guy that I have my eye on, not really from a fantasy perspective, but like in,
from
when
we're talking about perspective.
When we're thinking about our garbage men at the end of the year.
Ooh.
And you need some threes. If you need threes and you need a garbage man, I could see him being one of those guys.
I adore a preseason garbage man projection.
He's a preseason garbage man for me.
This is awesome. He is in line at the employment depot waiting for an opportunity. I love it.
He's filling out the application as we speak.
I love it. All right. Those are your takes. Thank you for that. I'm glad you're excited. So
I think that's the last one. Yeah.
we're gonna address some. All right, we're gonna do some buy sells, basically based on for the people, the big trade moves and the big acquisitions from the off season. Are we gonna buy them to be better this year, or selling them to be worse than their performances last year? So we're gonna start with the big trade and the man himself, Dame. Are you buying or selling better than last year? Fantasy value.
What did he finish in our?
He finished. Let's go to the tape.
I mean, he had a great season.
Yeah, he was a really good last season. 12th.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's make sure. 16th, which was really good.
I mean, that sounds about right. Like, I think for him, it comes down to health and role. Like, is he gonna have a hard time figuring out how to not be? Oh, something came up.
Yes,
and it's very hard to see.
Don't worry about it. Just move along.
Anyway, he has historic, like, he struggled on Team USA as like a role player. He's not going to be a role player here, but he did say in one, because he's fairly self-aware, he did say, like, this is the first time as a pro that I'm not going to be the best player on the team. And so that's it. So I think if you're saying, do I buy him as a top 15? I'm going to say no.
I think I agree. Like, it's hard to believe his production's going to remain the same on that team. Like, he's going to be an extremely good basketball player at his level, fantasy wise. Like, he's not the only option anymore. So he can't just like have his nuclear 50-point games on the reg for no reason.
I mean, he'll have some.
He'll have some. He's not going to have like 10 or whatever. Like, he had so many last season because he was the only option.
But who knows? Yeah.
I think
on the flip side of it, he's going to get open shots.
He's also going to get a lot of assists. Like,
yeah,
he might just be different.
Yeah, like, instead of 33 and 8, is he sitting at 26 and 11 on lower volume but better percentages and fewer turnovers? Like, then maybe he actually does finish better. Maybe his efficiency goes up because his load goes down.
I could definitely see that. I think that's true. I think his efficiency will go up on both turnovers and shooting, because like he's just definitely going to get myriad more open shots than he ever got.
Yeah, the only thing would be if he struggles to like figure out his place. Yeah. But you know who is an assistant coach on that team? Terry Stotts. So he's gonna help him find his place one way or the other.
I think you shared that in our basketball text thread after the fact, and I was like, oh, the mole. That was a secretly good move by Milwaukee to hire Stotts. All right, so maybe that sounds like a push. I think we're gonna be a push on Dame, probably like roughly equal.
I think that sounds about right. He could be a couple up, a couple below. I don't think he's gonna fall off a cliff at all, unless he gets hurt.
Next one, bugaboo for our league, Mr. Ayton, DeAndre Ayton. 45th last season, had a tough season.
He was bad for his own standards.
Yeah, I'm buying. I think that's an easy buy. I think he's going to get used quite effectively in Portland and be sort of like the main big. I can't fathom he'd have a worse season than he did last season with a probably better situation in Portland.
Yeah, I mean, he's an automatic 2010 probably.
That seems right.
Scoot needs a pick and roll partner, and there's way more shots to go around, and he'll probably be better defensively as a result, because he's definitely one of those guys who's like, if you feed him, he will do stuff. And I still remember, I think I was sitting in the bar with you. We were watching a Suns-Bucks finals game in Vegas. And I just remember screaming out of like, why are they not passing to him? Like, when he was just like working super hard on Giannis, and like anytime he was near the ball, good stuff happened. And then they went like the entire fourth quarter without him touching the ball, and their offense totally collapsed.
They iced him out of so many games. Like, that just didn't make sense. Like, nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, like, one of the things about Jokic that makes him so good is they don't forget about him. Like, because he's the guy. And so often in like high leverage places, everyone just forgets about the big. And it's like, the guy will rampage for 3 quarters and then not touch the ball, and the team will lose, and it'll be like, well, what happened?
Like Sabonis, same thing. Like, so many
Sabonis.
teams doing that right now.
Oh my god, I have
no rants, no Sabonis rants. We're not starting that already. We're not doing it.
I mean, I ranted about it last season. I remember I was being like, yeah, he's so good because they give him the ball in the fourth quarter now.
And then they did.
Anyway, go on.
And then they did.
Then they didn't, and then they lost in the playoffs woefully.
Next we're gonna go Drew. So big Boston ad. 40th last season.
Also one of the best years of his career. I think maybe the best year of his career.
Yeah, big season last season. That was a big season. I think another tough one where it's kind of hard. Like, he could have a good season. I think defensively he's gonna be good, but it's almost hard to see his production output the same. It's gonna be an interesting fit. He's gonna be a really good fit for that team, but I can't decide like his fantasy change from last season. It might be similar, it might be worse. I don't know. What do you think?
He's an easy sell to me.
Easy sell.
He's the 5th option on offense. Like, And he came off the bench in their preseason game. And they talked about maybe that is what he'll be.
Who's starting
in the regular season? Derek White.
Oh God, they're gonna wow. Oh, that's...
Yeah, the team is loaded.
But like that's just crazy. Like a season ago, if you said Derek White was gonna be the starting point guard on purpose, like next season, everybody would be like, get out of here.
And the guy that he's starting over is Drew freaking Holiday.
Yeah, the fact that he's even able, that the fact that he maybe legitimately played himself into that position is like pretty amazing for him as an individual. For how
and good coaching too.
Yeah, for how good of an offseason he had. Like that's not. I'm both like shocked, but also like, okay, no, that's good on him. That's fair.
It comes down to if they want to start Horford or not. Basically, like, are they going to start Horford to go the two bigs, and then do you start one of Drew and White? Who do you bench? Basically, their top six. Like you gotta. I mean, Horford kind of makes sense, but then you're talking about Tatum as a full-time 4. That's not really what you want. Like, you don't want to get too beat up like that.
So if we're going to sell Drew, because he might even be coming off the bench, let's just stay with Boston. We'll come back to the trade. We got to talk about Crap Snaps. Finding his way to a legitimate team, maybe for the first time ever. Are you buying or selling? Like, what I don't even remember. He had a good season last season.
He was a monster in the second half of last season, if I recall correctly.
He definitely, I think, ended up winning a lot of leagues because he did definitely come out of nowhere in a way that I think, he ended up 9th. So, like,
I'm not buying that.
I'm not buying that. That's another one where, like, he obviously just can't get the production again on that team.
No, and he's third option at best. And also he will, he had a much better health season last year. You can't necessarily bank on that with him.
I agree with the sell. However, this seems like this is whoever takes him, right? This is a make or a breaker pick. Like this is like
a run swing.
This is a 3rd or 4th round pick, I think. Maybe even earlier. But this either wins a league or you lost a round.
Yeah.
I think
so you're selling him, but you're like selling him at the consignment store. You're not just giving him away to Goodwill.
Yeah, he's not going to be first round value, but he could be a steal in the round.
Could he be second or third round value picked in the 4th or 5th?
Yeah, he could easily be multiple rounds higher. And hell, like if other people on that team get hurt and he becomes like the second or first option, never the first option, probably. If Tatum gets hurt, I don't know. If injuries make him a legitimate first or second option, like that's an interesting dynamic. That's hard to.
The secret with him is that he can post up now.
Oh yes,
that was always his thing. He could never post up. He'd be 7'3", and you could put your like 2 guard on him, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like interesting swing value for sure there.
Yeah. So like, what is he doing? Pick and rolls, like, et cetera, et cetera.
Back to all right. So we're gonna sell, but not too far.
Yeah, consignment store sell.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah. We'll take him to Buffalo Exchange.
Plato's Closet, is that still a thing?
I don't know what that is.
Me? Oh, that must be a Midwest thing. Okay, last big piece of the trade. Our dear friend and constant source of frustration, Mr. Nurk. Let's see, where did he end up? He had a tough season. He was also hurt a lot. Where do you put the Nurk, given that he finished 146 last season?
I'm buying that.
I think I'm gonna buy it too.
I'll buy that.
I think that's an easy buy.
I think he's gonna be good there. They're not gonna put up with his pouty bullshit. So like, and that's gonna go one of two ways. Either he's gonna ultra pout and just knock himself off the team, and like friggin' Drew Eubanks, his backup in Portland. Which for a minute, can we talk about how Phoenix traded actively for the Portland big lineup that completely screwed us out of like any kind of semblance of the season?
They got Eubanks too?
They signed him as a free agent earlier in the offseason. So they have our exact like center rotation from last year. That's what you really want to emulate the 5th worst team in the league's big rotation when you've got guys like Jokic and Anthony Davis and others to deal with.
They did get Bull. Like
yes,
so
they did.
We're buying Nurk big. Are you buying Bull?
No,
No.
he's
Like,
not going to play.
are the Suns trying?
Oh, yeah. They sign all kinds of people. Like, they have actual depth.
Who's I don't okay, that's okay, maybe I'm just all right. What's their starting lineup?
I mean, you know who their four are. I mean, we didn't talk about Beal if we're doing buy a sell.
Oh, I forgot. This is where I legitimately forgot.
Pay attention.
I don't remember who's playing.
I know,
basketball.
but you gotta. The draft is in like a week. You should pay attention. I mean, like,
you know what's funny though? You know what it is? These are literally all people on my don't draft list. Like I literally don't want anybody
Durant,
on
Booker, Beal.
Literally,
Nurk.
like they are the top 5 of my don't draft list.
I mean, they have all kinds of things on this team. Like, Okogie is in there. Like, they got Eric Gordon basically for free.
Grayson
they
Allen.
have Grayson Allen. They have Nas, who is a good role player from the Blazers. They have Keita Bates-Diop, who's a good role player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have like a bunch of these like random guys. Yuta Watanabe, like, they have a bunch of random guys they can just throw out there, and under different circumstances too. Like, they all have different skill sets. I actually really like what they did, and the fact that they did it with like no assets at all is kind of amazing. Like, you know, I think Ayton is definitely a downgrade or an upgrade from Nurk, and Nurk is definitely a downgrade from Ayton, but like, how much of a downgrade is he for the fact that he costs half as much?
Yeah, in this team, right? In this team, it doesn't matter, right?
Right, and he maybe fits a little better than Ayton did as a guy who like wants to score and wants to be that dude, and was clearly never going to be on that team. A, because coach didn't like him, and B, because there were significantly better players on his team. And Nurk, like, he seems pretty happy. Like, the thing that always pissed Nurk off was when he would get 1,000 fouls because no one guarded anyone. And then he had to go guard Jokic and Murray by himself. And that is not an enjoyable endeavor. I could
see Nurk having like actually a pretty big year. Like,
I think he'll be good there. I think that Booker is much better defensively than everyone gives him credit for. Durant is still really good defensively. Like, I think if people play defense, Nurk will be happy because so much of a load will be off of his shoulders, and he can just like kind of go do his thing.
Yeah, he's gonna be like a 12, and I could this is a stretch, but like, he's the only guy that's gonna be clearing the glass on that team, and like, he's gonna.
I mean, Durant gets rebounds, but
he gets rebounds, but he's not like pounding in the paint. Like,
he could easily be a double-digit rebounder.
He's gonna be like a lob man getting 12 and 15. Right?
He's not gonna be a lob man. He can't do that. But
okay, fine. Well, a dunking guy.
No, he can't do that either. He's gonna be a 3-point shooter. No, he's gonna be a 3-point shooter. Like, oh, really? Full on. He's gonna take a billion threes.
If he is a proto Brook Lopez, like, I'm in on that.
Yeah, he's going. That's where he's heading. He cannot finish at the rim. He is horrific at the rim.
He's so bad.
And like, you can't, when you have Beal, Durant, and Booker, you can't waste possessions with him bricking layups. Like, his shot is a bailout jumper now. Like, that's what he's gonna be. He's gonna get you rebounds. He's gonna get you threes. I think he'll get some assists too, because he'll get to do a little 4-on-3, and he's not bad at the 4-on-3, but he's not great.
I think that's right, and it might make me
140 definitely buying.
Yeah, it might make me not hate the Suns, but that's gonna be tough. All right, we're gonna do a bit of a lightning round.
Wait, where do you stand on Beal? I'm curious. Like, do you buy or sell Beal?
Hold on, he had a bad season.
Point Beal. He's gonna be the point guard.
You think?
They don't have one.
They don't have.
They literally don't have one.
Booker doesn't count. Booker's not gonna be.
I mean, it's either point Booker or point Beal, and if it's point Booker is probably a first-round pick.
I think it's gonna be point Booker. I don't disagree with that. Beal had an awful season last season.
Well, yeah, he played for the Wizards and didn't care.
Yeah, so I think like you almost can't not be better, but this is where like both of those players to me are our proto whipping boy empty calorie players. So like they have to.
Booker is not an empty calorie player at all.
Maybe not now, but he was.
He was 2 years ago.
Yeah, So last season he might have had a better season. I think like they're not bad picks. Like I'm not taking. So everybody else can have them. That's fine. Like Beal is going to be a flamethrower, and like all his job's going to be on that team as a scorer. So I think Beal is still going to be empty calories because like he has going to have no other responsibilities.
I don't totally agree with that,
All
but
right.
because in the past he was a very good defender, and whether that was injury or just malaise, he stopped being a good defender.
I look forward to you loading up on Suns.
I'm not going to load up on the Suns because every one of those people cannot stay on the court.
Yes. That's
the reason why I wouldn't call them like an inner circle contender with like Denver Bucks and Celtics, because like of those three guys, four if you count Nurk. I don't know if you count Nurk as a big four, but of those three guys, like, is this going to be Brooklyn again, where it's like, well, they only had him for 18 games, but those 18 games they won by 40 points.
Yeah, I think that's
and can they get themselves to the playoffs healthy? Like, that's all that really matters for them. Like,
if Durant gets through a season, I'd be surprised at this point. Like, he's just.
I mean, Booker always misses some time too. Beal hasn't been healthy in a while. Like, is two of them good enough? Is like two of them plus Nurk good enough? Is three of them minus Nurk good enough? Because he always misses 20 games. Like, and the West is so loaded with like, they could easily end up being like the nasty play-in team because they just couldn't stay healthy and do like what Miami did if they get hot at the right moment.
Who's the cupcake team now in the West? Like
Portland only.
Yeah, like
only. There's not another one. Like San Antonio is not a great team, but like have fun dealing with Wemby every night. Good luck. Like you might win, but you're gonna not enjoy yourself.
And like that whole team's young, spunky, and like just is gonna want to play
also,
and run
Popovich
around.
Exists.
Yeah, like that.
And he's definitely gonna be engaged again now too.
Oh yeah.
He was just like had his glass of wine sitting on the bench for the last 2 years. He's like, well, Tony Parker said, in 2 years I'm gonna get Wemby, so I'm just gonna hang on, and then we'll be great again, and then I can have my last era.
All right. So since we're running long as usual, we're gonna do a lightning round.
Lightning round.
So buy, sell, minimal other commentary. First, Fred VanVleet on the Rockets. Buy or sell?
What was his ranking?
I'll bring that up.
Give me the rankings when you say the buy or sell.
I will be better. 25th.
Number of times he give. Can we just do an over under on number of dad lectures he gives to the various players?
Oh God, no bet. I'm not
like 13.5. What's the number? I don't know.
47. I think it's to me it's a push. I think it's gonna be tough to be better than that on that team this season. I don't know. Wait.
Yeah, I can't buy him because that team is just like so backwards that it's hard to know if he'll be able to impact them. Yeah,
I agree. Marcus Smart, Memphis. He was out a lot last season. Had a lot of ejections. So this is not a fair thing. It's his
filling the Dylan Brooks role.
Yeah. Buying or selling Smart.
I'm buying at least for the first third of the season because no Ja Morant for 25 games.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a partial season pick. Yeah, I think that's.
But another guy who can't stay on the court, another guy who whether he gets tossed or hurt. So that's always I like it's too hard to project health. But I think just on pure volume and opportunity, I think I'm buying him for the first half of the season at least.
I like that. That's a good like hedge pick. I like that. Jordan Poole.
Oh no.
On the Wizards. A whole 176 empty calories last season. A lot of empty calories last season.
You go first. You go first.
I think I don't know, man. He's like the only guy on that team, right?
Did he average 30? This year he might average 30 a game.
I think he could easily average 30. I think he's gonna have like he's gonna have like all the 3-pointers. Like
how many baddies are there in Washington D.C. to show up and motivate him? Because they literally Draymond sent that man to the wall. Like he is starting his watch, and I don't know what he's gonna do, but
I'm buying him on a team that you lean in. If you lean in on the inefficiency play, can build. You buy Poole in the later.
yeah, if you're going for scoring and 3-pointers and things like that, yes, definitely.
Buy Poole. If
agreed.
you have to go there because you've not gotten efficient players, like you might as well.
Yeah, you just picked only bigs, and you're like, oh no, I don't have anyone who could put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, I think you got to buy him. Next one, John Collins, one of our favorite discussion topics on this show. 86 last season to Utah. I think there's a two-parter: buy sell John Collins, and then buy sell Lauri Markkanen because of John Collins.
Oh God, I don't have a good answer. Do you have one? Do you have a take?
I think you have to sell Markkanen as just a general regression to the mean, because that would be amazing.
He's not going to be top 10 again, is he? I mean, he basically was 2011 Dirk last year. Like that's
if he
won the MVP with the same numbers that Markkanen put up, basically.
Like if he's in there in the third round, am I going to take him? Probably. Like, do I think he's a first round pick? No. Like, could it happen again? Anything. Like, I'm not going to bet on it. I think Collins does eat his numbers a bit, but I think I'm also going to sell Collins because I still don't think he's going to happen. That's my
buy or sell Collins on the Jazz at the end of the season.
Oh, sell. Hard
yeah.
sell. I think that's
so that's another thing.
Yeah. So that's an easy sell. That's a good take though, because that could change. Do I have anything else? Oh, last one. Maybe the wackiest one, and I think less interesting. Chris Paul on the Warriors.
No, that is wacky. I'm very curious, and now as my team holds the Warriors pick this next season, very hoping that he blows everything to smithereens. But what did he rank? Draymond's hurt, so probably yes.
So like, would he be point and like Curry would be like a 2? Basically?
Yeah, for now.
Interesting.
I mean, there was a whole thing about whether he was going to start or not, but Draymond's hurt, so like, unless they're going to put Kuminga in there.
Kuminga!
Who I love. I love Kuminga, but
77. So he actually was pretty good for just because he gets so many assists and is pretty efficient. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over.
And he gets a lot of steals. So like,
yeah. So I'm still selling. Like, I think he's not going to play a lot.
77th. So like a 6th round, late 6th, early 7th, probably no.
Yeah, I'm selling.
A later flyer, absolutely. Because once again, what team will he be on at the end of the year?
Yeah,
will he be on that team? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Good work.
Wait. Before we go, can we just talk about Wemby for a minute? I don't know what to do. Tell me about your Wemby takes. What do you have?
I think even one game in, he's a monster. Yahoo has him projected to be 3rd in blocks, which is already enough for our league to go in the first few rounds. I'm all in. The only question is how many games he plays.
I know.
Even then, if you get the first 60 games of Wemby and they shut him down, and he plays to what is like reasonably his capability, like, worst case you have a good pick.
I'm just so conflicted. I'm definitely one of the people who's like thinking about pulling that trigger very early.
Oh, but yes. Our draft.
I think everybody is. That's the thing. It's like you can't not think about it, whether you do it or not, whatever. But like, it's just so tantalizing and also so fun to root for. Like,
yes.
He's just so weird and enjoyable. And like, the thing for me, and the games played thing is definitely the thing. But what's interesting about it is that's going to be a fight, I think, between them. Because he doesn't want to miss games.
No, he wants to play.
He wants to play. He's a hooper. Like, he's a straight up hooper. He is not worried about no rest. He wants to be out there and he wants to do it. Like,
are you saying he's not soft?
He is the opposite of soft. I don't know what the French word for hard is, but
I'll have to look that up.
Hey, let me look that up.
I think that's right, and I think we are, unfortunately, since we are our draft order here, since we are 8 and 9, We are right in the Wemby
zone.
Wemby zone. both like as an early take in the second round, and then like I'll just say I don't care. I am auto drafting Wemby if he's on the board for my pick in the third round. Like I don't care. People can take
it.
You just people can decide. Like they can make that choice for themselves. But like it's if he gets to the third round and he's there on the board, like there will be no consideration for anything else. that is my stated belief.
Respect.
So I'm pro Wemby. I would be shocked if he gets out of the second round.
What do you think his if like in the upside version of him? What do you think his numbers look like? If he's everything we imagine and he isn't hurt and he doesn't struggle.
I will say is like I don't know. I think it comes down to his shooting. What he ends up like his shooting distribution in terms of does he take more threes or more in the paint? Because I think that'll change the percentage. If he can shoot over 50%, like he's first round. Like if his mix gets him out to 50% because he's gonna take a lot of threes and he's gonna make a lot of threes, and then comes down to how many turnovers he has. So if he can like reasonably like kind of be a league average turnover big man, like he's gonna be top 5 blocks, like almost without question if he plays all season. Like
he's gonna be very high in turnovers.
Yeah, I believe that. So it really comes down to like if that's gonna like move his needle from a total perspective. But I think again, if you're a team where you're just gonna eat a turnover category, like you take him and it doesn't matter, right? Like you just negate it.
Yeah.
But if he's like he could ruin your efficiency, that's the risk, right? He's gonna get counting stats and he's gonna like win you blocks. Like there's just no way he can't. So like if you game plan that, I think like he's a no negative basically, because like though that being said, he's definitely not gonna be like a 65% or 70% big man shooter.
Absolutely not.
So that is a thing you have to consider. Like you kind of have to. It's one of those.
You have to think of that he's going to have guard shooting numbers most likely.
Yeah,
like good guard shooting numbers. Kind of like he probably will have. I think he'll hover somewhere in that 50%. I don't know. It's just like, how are they going to use him? Like, what's he going to do? Is he going to be out here taking pull-up threes all day long like he did in that preseason game the other night? Is he going to be running pick and rolls himself, which he did? Like a Zach Collins pick and roll could be kind of fun. Like.
Yeah, and he's going to get a lot of volume, so like 50% of his volume won't be a negative, right? Like just like when Curry shoots 50%, right? Like that helps your team a lot. So yeah, I'm. It all comes down to how many minutes a game does he get? How many games is he going to play?
How many games does he play?
And then like, can he stay somewhat efficient? Like not even like greatly efficient, but like reasonably efficient, because like his positives are going to be very good. So
and then his downside is he shoots a very low percentage, like he shoots in the low 40s, right? Turns it over a ton and doesn't get as many rebounds as you expect, right?
Yeah, it's a home run, it's a homer pick, like
it's a leap of faith.
Yeah, because it's either like he does the thing and like he is bonus value. That's why I think that's why I'm saying auto draft in the third. Because like
he could win you the league, or he could ensure that you finish last.
I think that's why I think
depending on where you pick him.
That's why first round like too scary. Second round is a lot. There's so many people on the board, especially this season. Like we're gonna have a stacked second round draft board, like by default. Like I think there's just too many good people that will guarantee.
There's so many good players right now
that will guarantee you the stats, and there's no way he gets to the fourth. Like there's just no way.
No, you've guaranteed that.
I have guaranteed that. I'm at the end of the third.
I guarantee.
So that's my pick. Anything last? We're 55 minutes in. I think we have to like rein in our first episode. We don't have an outro today. Technical difficulties. But
we're working on it.
We'll get better. Always a pleasure. Have a good week.
Do we dance in silence, or do
we're not doing that? We're just
smile and wave goodbye like this? All right.
Smile and wave.